Let's get started with ReeFlex's time-lapse app, ReeLapse. So let's jump straight into ReeLapse here. And if you've used a ReeFlex app before, then this will all look very, very familiar to you. A lot of these icons and the layout have been taken straight from ReExpose and ReeFlex Pro Camera. But even if you've not used any of those apps, it's a very straightforward app to learn. So let's jump straight in and make a time lapse. I'll show you around the interface. So we have the timer up here. Timer isn't too important with a time lapse because if you tap the shutter and you get a bit of camera shake, it's only going to last for 1-2 frames maximum. So you can edit it out if you do see it later on. You're going to get a video file. Got the level. Make sure I am level. This is a lot more important to me when I do motion and hyperlapses, which is going to be another video coming up in this tutorial series. But even with a time lapse like this, I don't want to crop in, like have to rotate it and crop in and lose resolution. I want the maximum resolution. So it is good to check that the time lapse is level and how you want it before you hit record. To help with that, I can use the rule of thirds grid. I can also check my composition with this. I've got a frame. I like it. The bridge is in this middle section. So this bridge is occupying these 2 points. I've got the tower a little bit in this area, so I am claiming rule of thirds for this time lapse. Now in the settings, we have some interesting options. We've got backups, which are very, very cool. I'll explain what those are once I hit record. And we have save energy, which I'm not going to turn on today for this tutorial because I want to actually see the screen as I'm capturing this. It's going to dim the screen for saving energy and your battery life while you're capturing your time lapse. So over a few hours, that's going to really be useful for you. Now we have the time lapse controls themselves. Now looking at this scene here, it's the morning in the north of England here. It's about 8 o'clock. The weather is changing gradually. I might not notice it in real life so much, but the time lapse will definitely pick it up. And it's going to get less hazy as the sun gets higher in the sky. So I definitely want to capture that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap this button down here, bring up the time lapse controls, and I want to see how the scene changes over like 20 minutes. So if I drag this right down here to 20 minutes, there we go. So at the moment, that's going to give me 2,400 frames for a time lapse of 1 minute and 20 seconds. Now, generally, with cars passing at this speed, I want them smooth, definitely. And what I'm getting at is the intervals. So I've got ½ a second intervals here. I'll go to 1 second. I'm going to be here for 40 minutes. I don't want to be here for 40 minutes, honestly. So I'm going to keep it to ½ a second. And generally, the slower the motion in your time lapse, the longer the intervals you can do. So like if this was just the clouds without the vehicles or just this slow moving river canal, then I would choose 3 seconds or 2 seconds. But because the cars are involved, I am going to choose 1 second. And yeah, I'm going to leave effects. I'm going to tease you with the effects to check out the next couple of videos in this series, all about motion blur and light trails that are in the effects panel. So you can easily add some magic to your time lapses. Now down here, let me just close this. Down here, we have our exposure and focus and white balance settings. Now here, I'm going to just bring the EV down a little bit, just to bring out a bit more contrast in the canal and in the sky. And I'm not going to lock the focus because nothing won't make its way in front of my camera. If it does, it'll be Jesus walking on water or something. And the white balance, I'm going to lock that because I don't want the colors shifting as the time lapse is capturing. Now, usually when you watch me in a tutorial, I will come straight to the ISO, I'll turn it all the way down. Not here because it's a video, it's going to output a video file, and what I see on the screen is what I'm going to get from the video file. So nothing's going to be, if it's not clipping or looking bad on the viewfinder, it won't look bad when you actually export the time-lapse, or when you see the time-lapse later in the Photos app. So finally, we've got the focus, got the histogram, and the zebras. Again, things that I don't really use, the histogram and the zebras, I mean, because I can see exactly what I'm going to get on the viewfinder. And finally, we have this max button here. Now, this changes from the maximum resolution to 4K. You might think 4K is better because look, the screen's bigger, you can see more, but it's not. It's actually cropping into 4K, so you're getting less resolution. I highly recommend keeping it at max, because then you can, when you bring it into your timeline later, your video timeline, you're gonna like edit at 4K resolution or 1080p, which is the same aspect ratio. Just keep it in the max resolution. You can even recompose later because you've got that extra space. So highly recommend keeping it at max. You've got your lens options here. I'm very, very happy with the wide lens on this iPhone 15 Pro Max, and that's all there is to it. So I'm going to press capture now, and I'll see you in 20 minutes. No, I won't. I need to explain the backups to you. So backups is really nice. You can, when you finish capturing your time lapse, it's going to just automatically save to the Photos app. Now, if you're like me and you like to keep everything clean and organized, that can mean deleting things that you didn't export, you didn't organize properly, and you're like, oh no, I needed that video, I accidentally deleted it. You can come into the Files app, go to On My iPhone or On This iPhone, go to ReeLapse, and there are your time lapses that you foolishly deleted from the Photos app, if you're me. So that is what backups is, and you can see the frames are capturing here at a very fast rate of half a second per frame, and I'm already at 100 frames. Got 2,300 left to go. Yes, nice big vehicles coming across the bridge, please. So it can look like I'm actually time-lapsing something rather than just an empty bridge. Here we go. Here we go. Traffic building up. The one time I want traffic to build up on this bridge. Every other time, quiet as possible, please. All right, 20 minutes later, let's have a look. Go into the preview here, and as advertised, we've got 1 minute and 20 seconds, and yeah, that's nice. The REEFLEX compact tripod, which is new, has done a wonderful job of keeping everything very, very still. We've got the still elements of the bank of the canal, the bridge, the tower, and then contrast that with the moving elements of the water and the traffic. Looks really nice, and stuff that I would never notice in real time, like these bits of foam in the canal making their way down there, or not in some cases. So yeah, that is getting started with ReeLapse by ReeFlex, and in the next one I'm going to be going into motion blur. You can make the time lapses look even smoother, and when you lose the light, you can capture some really cool light trails. Then after that, I'm going to bring it all together with hyper-lapses, which is moving time lapses where you move through space, and motion lapses as well. So stick around for that. A little bit more advanced, but very, very fun and very, very cool. So thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.